Okay, this is going to be a quick introduction to using the dollar sign in Excel. The dollar sign is what we call a lockdown character. It says to Excel, when you drag this formula, treat parts that are preceded by a dollar sign differently than the rest of the formula. And this dollar sign is going to be of a lot of use whenever I want to make repeated comparisons to one particular event. So let's go back to our Vaillant data and calculate some percent changes. And I want to calculate percent changes in volume relative to September 2nd. So I know what a percent change is, and as soon as I see percent change relative to September 2nd, I know, aha, I'm going to be making a repeated comparison to September 2nd. So I'm going to want a formula that compares each day to September 2nd. Well, that's kind of trivial for the first one. For the second one, I'm going to want to compare each day to September 2nd and set it relative to September 2nd, and that's great. I can even format that as a percent. But it's really problematic because look at the formula. The formula is using the data from September 1st and September 2nd. When I move to drag this down, what's going to happen? I drag it. It's no longer making the comparison we want the spreadsheet to make. Now it's using data from the 31st of August and the 2nd of September, but I want to use the data from the 2nd of September and the 31st in August. The way that I solve this problem is through the dollar sign. The dollar sign tells Excel, don't change this. So if I put dollar signs in front of those twos, it says when I drag this formula, don't change those twos. Change the 3, that's totally fine, but not the twos. And now when I drag, you see the right comparison is being made, where I'm saying that we're comparing August 31st to September 2nd for an increase of 32.43% in volume, not that the number actually matters. And now I can go ahead and drag all the way to the bottom, no problem at all. The dollar sign can also be used to drag horizontally in exactly the same way. If I was creating a formula where I wanted to drag horizontally as opposed to vertically, then I'd want to lock the F's instead of the 2's. Let's think about what exactly that would be. Well, let's compute some average prices. I know how to compute averages. I'm going to compute an average, and then I'm going to drag that here. And if I wanted to look at a percent difference, and I want to compare each day's prices to the closing price, now I'd have a similar situation. I want to compare each of these columns to the closing price, and when I drag this across, I get an error because the formula is trying to reference a cell that doesn't exist. So what I need to do is format this cell as a nice percentage, 2%, is to think about what's going wrong. Here, that C32 and those F32s are changing when I don't really want them to change. I want to make sure that each of these individual numbers is being compared to E2. I want to lock down that E2. So with judicious application of a dollar sign, I'm going to lock down those E's. And now when I drag, I'm going to get a nice consistent number where now the C's are being compared to the E, and the D's are being compared to the E, which is exactly what we want.